Hi everyone, this is my video about why I rage quit watching Emily in Paris season 3 almost exactly a third of the way through the season. Now, originally when I started this channel, actually it was just covering comic book stuff, and then I started reviewing geek TV shows and movies. And then at some point I just started watching like Emily in Paris, what was the Sex and the City sequel? And so it goes, whatever it was called. And there it was. Um, but I just woke up like 5 minutes ago. But anyway, I remember at the time people were making fun of me. They're like, Zach's watching Emily in Paris. That's pretty gay. It's not really gay to watch the show, but I will say it feels very gay to make an entire video about why you are quitting the show. Now, one of the reasons I'm making this video is hoping that people will say, "Oh, I understand why you quit. I almost quit too, but I finished the whole season and it's really worth it." But I read the Wikipedia episode summaries for the rest of the season, and I feel very secure in my decision. So I started watching Emily in Paris during the lockdown when it was actually in all of the news, and it was a huge phenomenon. And I was like, this looks so stupid. I'm going to watch it just to make fun of it. And I fell in love with it. I watched the first season all the way through 3 times. And I was very excited for season 2. I liked season 2. Not as much as season 1, but I thought it was really good. And then season 3 came out, and it came out a while ago, like 5 or 6 months ago. But I just had a bad feeling from what I had seen and the reviews I had read. I was like, ooh. And I watched it, and like I said, a lot of my complaints are going to seem very shallow, but honestly, it's kind of a shallow show. So, first of all, Emily Cooper is supposed to. Okay, so first of all, the same thing happened to me with season 2, where, a year goes by and I would kind of forget how to watch it. In that, if you watch the advertisements, it seems to be a show about a star, Emily, and her romances. But if you actually watch the show, it's more of a workplace comedy. It's about building and growing a career, maintaining relationships in business, and it also has romance. So there's always a little, or always, once before and then right now, where it's like, oh yeah, it's not just about Emily and it's more about her work. That being said, one of the things I've found so interesting about the show consistently is Emily is really annoying with a lot of flaws, and it never forces you to realize, oh my gosh, she's so delightful. You can enjoy the show while also thinking Emily is a dumb bitch. Oh, by the way, the title is supposed to be like a play on words. You're supposed to pronounce it with a French accent, so it's like Emily en Paris, but it gets ruined when you just say Paris. So anyway, so both for season 2 and season 3, I had to remind myself that it's not really a star show. It's an ensemble. It's a workplace comedy, essentially. And refreshingly, the creators of the show give you the freedom to think Emily Cooper is an airhead and I hate her. So, since this is a visual medium, some of these are going to be very shallow and visual. Do you know what moisturizer is? Holy shit! I served in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I didn't have as dry skin as Emily does in Paris. Like, moisturize your face. Like the freaking buildings, these stone buildings Emily walks by look more supple than her face. Like, holy shit, moisturize. The other thing, again, this is going to sound really gay, but the actress has a very large forehead, and she also has a bad habit of wrinkling her very large forehead, and it's very visually off-putting. I feel like in the first season, they kind of mitigated that with hats and scarves and bangs and side bangs. And now it's just the wrinkly, dry forehead show co-starring Lily Collins. Okay, so second of all, this was kind of built around a romance with Emily and Gabrielle, who did have chemistry at one time. The show seemed to get annoyed with itself in the second season, and they're like, hey, look, Gabrielle's with Camille, and Emily is with Alfie. And that's just it. Let's not do that stupid game where, will they, won't they? Oh, no. And at some point, it really looks like the actor who portrays Gabrielle, the romantic male lead, I think he's really over this role. So when you see him specifically in season 3, his like head is down all the time. And it's just like, okay, dude, if you want to quit, just talk to your agent. like, like he's not into it. The other thing is, wow, this sounds gay. He's a romantic lead. And it looks like in the third season, he lost a lot of weight. So he's like this bony guy. And it's like, you're supposed to be like the Prince Charming. You look sick. Like, I don't think he's actually sick. I think he's just an actor who just wants to be svelte. But like, you're too skinny. Okay, so moving on. By the way, I don't have everyone's... I always blank on people's names and then people get angry. So I'm actually looking at Google to see the actors and the Lucien Laviscount. So Alfie, as much as I complain about Gabrielle, he and Emily had actual great chemistry, specifically in the first season, but also in the second season. Alfie and Emily have never had an ounce of chemistry ever. Zero. Nothing. And it's really painful because I kind of felt like in season 2, they were going to write him out or he would be a foil for Gabrielle. And no, I'm a third of the way and they're trying to make it work. Now, yes, I did spoil it and read the Wikipedia, but I mean, the only thing drier than Emily Cooper's face is her relationship with Alfie. Man, that sounded gay. Okay, moving on. Camille, who is played by an actress named Camille. I believe this is the only actress who has the same name. I don't know, is she like a famous singer in France? I love this character. She was very heartfelt. She got screwed over, but she wasn't like a victim. And she had this amazing raspy voice. It was so beautiful. She doesn't have the raspy voice anymore. What the heck happened? What the hell? That's... If you watched the first 2 seasons, like, her voice was very distinct. I don't know if she went to a voice coach or she just finally cleared her throat. Her raspy voice is gone. She just has a regular voice. What the hell? And she's like, how would I say it? She had a real presence, like a very flavorful presence in every scene she was in the first 2 seasons. And she's really bland. And then you watch the 4th episode, and all of a sudden she's dressed like a man. She's dressed like Charlie Chaplin. You have to see it. And it's Netflix, so what do you do with a female character when you've run out of storylines? Hey, they're suddenly gay. And when I say she's suddenly gay, I mean suddenly. Out of nowhere, she's dressed like a dude, and she has a gallery, which they barely mentioned before. And an amazing art piece is a confessional. And literally the first scene she has with this character, Sophia, they're making goo-goo eyes and they almost kiss. And I was like, bro, come. You're just making it easier to... Okay, first of all, it's Netflix. So weirdly enough, for a show created by a gay man, there was an oddly small amount of gay characters for a Netflix show. So making Camille, taking away her raspy voice, and just making her magically Netflix-ly gay out of nowhere. Like the first scene with her new lover was ridiculous. Okay, Sylvie. Sylvie's been great for most of the show, and she's good in season 3. But one of the things I liked about this, even though there were kind of magical, silly parts of this show, which were part of the fun, is that it wasn't really a romance. It was a workplace comedy. It was specifically about learning to deal with people, and that was it. Just learning to deal with your coworkers, learning to deal with clients. And Sylvie was a really great character. And in this one, her businesses, and her behavior becomes like Laverne and Shirley. Like, these are Laverne and Shirley plots. Oh, I quit my job and I just took all your clients and I'm working out of my expensive apartment. And you're like, okay, I think people who barely know about business know you can't quit a business and then take all of the clients. Like, that's what NDAs, employment contracts, that's what lawsuits are made of. And she just does it. And then they're like, oh, you could get in trouble. She's like, oh, really? And it's like, oh, I'm going to run an agency out of my apartment and not think, oh, like, it's all these stupid, like, unforced errors, self-inflicted wounds. And at one point, there's a whole episode about her flirting with the maintenance guy. Like, it's Laverne and Shirley. It's beneath this actress. So then they got Madeline, who is Emily's boss from Chicago. And I get the feeling I'm supposed to know who this is. Like, I'm thinking she's in some really famous NBC sitcom or something like that. I noticed this phenomenon when I saw the last Indiana Jones movie. There was a guy who was like an FBI agent, a nothing special role. But I mean, the entire audience got quiet and then they applauded. And I'm like, I know this guy must be famous from somewhere, but I don't know who he is. And it turned out he was the janitor on Scrubs. So it must be some deal like that, because whenever she's in a season, and she's only in it for a few episodes, they always act like, hey, we're really lucky to have her. And she does have good comedic timing, so I think she's in some other thing that's very famous. But again, this is going to be very shallow. They don't write her very good scripts. They seem to be relying on her being funny, but not giving her good material. Oh, I just looked it up. She's on Grey's Anatomy. Okay, so that explains it. She's not that pretty. So, sorry. It's not very nice to say, but she's not that pretty. And I kind of feel like this is a show for attractive people who moisturize. Moving on. This is another weird one. So they have this character, Luke, who is, he's comedy relief. He almost reminds me of Doc Brown from Back to the Future. He's funny. He's got weird teeth. He's got frizzy hair. I think he got tired of being laughed at. So he talked to his agent, and now they style his hair to make him look handsome. And it's not the character. It really bothered me. It's like, no, he's supposed to have goofy, frizzy hair. He's not supposed to have nice hair. He's supposed to dress silly, not fashionably. And you're just like, ah. So, yeah, I thought I actually was just going to do this as a community post because it was just going to be a list of like 5 complaints. But, yeah, just, I can't finish this. It really bothers me. Emily Cooper seems to have aged like 10 years in the last 3 years. And in the storyline, she's only supposed to have been in Paris for about 9 months now. Oh, the good thing. They finally realized that Mindy, played by Ashley Park, is star material. For the first 2 seasons, I think she was barely in season 1. She was in a lot more of season 2. She was just presented as Emily's funny minority friend. And not much more besides that. And then people, I think they realized that if they didn't dress her up like Kimmy Gibbler, and they gave her nice hair, nice makeup, nice outfits, and didn't treat her like a clown, that she was very compelling. Here's the problem. She's too compelling. She absolutely takes over the show, which should be an ensemble, and is called Emily in Paris. She's prettier, she moisturizes, more talented, she's an amazing singer, and even her really lame romance with, I forget the guy's name, some French guy with no personality at all. She almost makes that work. So Mindy is good, but she's weirdly enough too good. She's completely overpowering the show. I think they realized nothing was working like it was in previous years. So they're like, oh, Mindy's great. Let's just give Mindy more scenes. It's like, yeah, but then she's actually too good, and it just throws everything off. So just to reiterate, Emily has dry skin. The only thing drier than her skin is her relationship with Alfie. The actor for Gabrielle seems to have completely given up and doesn't care. Camille lost her rasp and is now a magical, sudden Netflix lesbian. Sylvie is now acting like a character out of Laverne and Shirley. And Luke is trying to be, I don't know, Rudolph Valentino when he's supposed to be a comedy sidekick. So I'm very interested in people who have watched it, especially if you finish the season. And if you're like, no, you really need to gut through it. It's just a couple of bad storylines, but it's worth it. But yeah, I read the whole... Oh, here's another thing. I like Paris. I've gone to Paris several times over 20 years. The last time I went to Paris, yes, I did go to Emily's apartment building, and I took pictures there and at the little park in front of it and at Luke's restaurant. And at every, I guess, commercial break, even though there aren't commercials, they show B-roll, scenes of the city. But the B-roll is limited to things your aunt would recognize. So this is the third season. There's basically 4 of these B-roll commercial breaks per episode. And I have seen the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, I forget the name of the cathedral. The cathedral from the end of John Wick 4. And I was going to say the Champs-Élysées, but they don't even say... They just show the part near the Arc de Triomphe. So they just show, like, the 3 things that your aunt who has never gone to Paris will recognize. And it's like, bro, you guys have been filming there for 3 years. Like, you could have shown more of the city, and you could have taught people about more of the city than just, like, the same 3 things over and over and over again. Yes, it was very exciting to go to Emily's apartment. And yes, I was embarrassed because I was the only guy there. I was just kind of milling about, waiting for the groups of women to leave so I could go take my pictures. Anyway, let me know how the season ends. Thanks for watching. Bye.